So a month ago, I served jury duty for a child abuse case here in Morgan County, Alabama. It occurred 2021. It has weighed so heavily on my heart and my mind. The sentencing was this morning, and I want to talk about it. I need to unburden myself, so bear with me. Mom and stepdad had a 7-month-old daughter together, a 3-year-old daughter, and a 5-year-old son. The victim in this trial was the 3-year-old daughter. So mom and mother-in-law take little girl to the hospital Sunday evening for a suspected concussion. She was vomiting after a fall. She wasn't able to keep any food down, and they were concerned she had a concussion. So took her to the emergency room. They give the story that she had fallen from 3 concrete porch steps into a gravel flower bed that had some gourds growing in it. Do you hear my son? I have a 1-year-old, so you can see why this really affected me. She did not have any cuts or scrapes or linear bruising consistent with this story. So the doctor in the emergency room suspected child abuse, asked for a consult once the child was admitted. Nurse practitioner comes in, evaluates the little girl, and realizes that she has streaking on her face. She had been crying. She was in agonizing pain. Nurse practitioner wipes her face and realizes she's wearing makeup. After a full body evaluation, she had makeup on her neck and her arm. When that was removed, she had double black eyes, a bruise along the side of her face, a large bruise here. She had bruising on the back of her neck, what I believe to be consistent with this number. She had bruising on her arm, consistent with a grab. She was absolutely grabbed. She had minimal bruising on her abdomen, normal bruising on her legs, and she did have considerable bruising on her backside. So Decatur General was not equipped for the type of care that this little girl needed. They requested a transfer. Huntsville Hospital didn't have any beds available at that time, so she was transferred to Birmingham. DHR was contacted. The children were placed in emergency custody with his family. The little girl was not allowed to be alone with either parent in the hospital. Once she's admitted to Birmingham, they realize she indeed does not have a concussion. She has severe abdominal injury, a lacerated pancreas, a lacerated liver. She was spewing toxins into her abdomen. She was in critical condition. She was fighting for her life in agonizing pain. So she did have emergency surgery. They corrected it. She was in the hospital for a month. Into the next week, the police got involved. They questioned the mother. She gave that story, the same story she told the hospital of she fell down the 3 porch steps. She was home. She didn't see the fall, but she heard it, and she was there, and she took care of the little girl post-injury. Well, that same day that she gave that statement to the police, the hospital in Birmingham sent over the images that they had taken when she was admitted to be evaluated by the police. And the detective on the case realized, actually, these injuries are much more critical than we were originally told, and they asked her to come back in for another interview. Her story then changes to, I wasn't even home when it happened. I was having a girls' day with my mom. It was my husband that was home. So that's what happened. I wasn't even there. And she does stick with that. That is the story that she isn't there. She changes some minimal detailing. Even when she testified, she did struggle to keep detailing of her story consistent. It's evident to me that she's a pathological liar. Anyways, we had a child abuse specialist that evaluated her at the hospital in Birmingham come and testify, and he said to obtain the injuries that she had to her abdomen, she would have had to have fallen out of a 2nd-story window onto a protruding object to obtain those injuries. And their story of she fell down the porch steps doesn't cut it. So at one point, they say that she jumped from her toddler bed onto the crib, her younger sister's crib, on her abdomen, and that's how she received those injuries. At another point in the trial, they said the family dog is responsible for these injuries. And now I know you're probably wondering, what kind of dog is it? A Chihuahua. It was a Chihuahua. So they each had separate lawyers. They were being tried separately, but it was the same trial, if that makes sense. So their lawyers did exactly what you'd expect. Oh, he's guilty. Oh, she's guilty. My client's innocent. They know nothing about the abuse. They would not be in this relationship if they suspected abuse. Blah, blah, blah. Anyways, we concluded the trial about 4:30 that Friday evening, deliberated for less than an hour. Let me tell you, we went back in that room, elected our foreperson in 2 minutes, and took a preliminary vote. We found them both guilty within 3 to 4 minutes. We could have returned the verdict immediately. But after a week of not being able to talk about it, you can't talk about it at home, you can't talk about it with other jurors. We each sat in that room and took turns, each person speaking their piece. And honestly, it turned into, did you catch this lie? Did you catch her say this? Did you hear the lawyer say this about that? Well, we found them guilty. The judge and the district attorney are very kind to the jurors, at least in Morgan County, at least in my experience. And they were very kind in the matter of, after it was concluded, they asked us to hang back and to speak with us. And they said, we just want to put you at ease that you did the right thing, that these people are guilty. So the district attorneys presented all the evidence that was not able to make it into the trial. There were text messages between the couple. They were so concerned about being found guilty. It seems to me like they created this story before they even took her to the hospital. And then they changed it when she said, I wasn't even there, I was on this girl's day. It seems like that was their way of, he knew he was going to be charged with this, and that was their way of her staying out. Luckily, that's not what happened. She evidently knew about this abuse, and she chose to protect her husband over her child, and I will never understand that. There is not a fiber of my being that can justify that as a mother. Well, we found out that he was married previously and he adopted his ex-wife's infant child, allegedly. In their divorce documentation was evidence that he was abusing the family dog. Okay, the sentencing was this morning. I did go, but I had to leave because they made the comment that they had found bruising. When DHR investigated this, they had found bruising on the 7-month-old's face and suspected she had been struck in the face. So I was getting really worked up, and when I get stressed out, I break out in hives, and I could feel that starting to happen, and I thought, I need to go home to my baby. That's where I need to be. It's just going to unsettle me even more to hear what I'm hearing. So I left. There were other jurors there with me, and luckily they did message me after it was concluded. They are both serving life sentences. Praise God. Every day that they are in jail is one less day that these children are affected by them. I have pages and pages and pages of notes that I took from this trial. I could not touch on every single detail that I heard. I hope I did it justice. There are no words. It was like sitting in a court case on TV. It was insane. And to see the pictures of this little girl, I will never forget her face. And I just pray that this doesn't affect her in her life. I believe that she is 7 years old now. So I just pray that she is loved and cared for, and I'm sure that she is. She is no longer with his family. She is with, I believe, her mother's father, so her grandfather. And he has nothing to do with his daughter. Praise the Lord.
Okay, so let me tell you guys this story about how this guy flew me to Austin and I turned around and I left 8 hours later. So it all started with me meeting him in Turks and Caicos about 2 years ago when I went for my best friend's birthday. It was just us two, so we were traveling, just us two, nobody else. So I felt like guys, they felt more confident to come up because we weren't like, in a group. So we go to eat at Mr. Grouper's restaurant, and there's a table that's sitting right next to us, and they liked our vibe and they offered us shots. There was one guy at the table in particular who showed interest in me, and he was being friendly and stuff like that, but I was just like, that's not really my type. So I kept it pushing. When we're heading out to leave from the trip, we ran into that same group in the airport, but this time there was fewer of them. I guess they got on their flight separately anyways. He asked to take down my Instagram, so I gave him my Instagram. So I tried to turn a new leaf on the type of guys that I was dating. He seemed like a really nice guy. He worked a legit job. And, he was a little short. He typically was not who I would talk to, but I wanted to learn to stop, looking at people from the outside and getting to know them. So we kept in contact here and there. He would write me. It would be times off and on where we would, text, but then I would, fall off, whatever. So mind you, it was times when I'd be on the phone with this guy, and y'all, why did I forget the man's name? So whole time I'm talking to him, I don't even know his name. So basically, long story short, I asked him, oh, what's your name? And he said they call me so-and-so. So then I'm like, okay, noted. But you know how you, never save somebody's contact? So somewhere along the line, when he told me this on the phone, I must have forgot. So fast forward to about 2 weeks ago, he hits me up and he's like, I'd really like for you to come out here to Austin, see what it's like, come and hang out with me. And mind you, he was already showing interest. He was sending little money for food. He would order me food and stuff like that. He seemed to have his head on straight, so I didn't want to be like, where's the money? My bitch is shaking ass with a handout. I wanted to actually give him a chance to get to know him because he had good conversation. We would have good back and forth dialogue. So I was like, let me just see what he's talking about. So he tells me he's going to buy me my plane ticket, and he's like, oh, my house is big enough. You could stay at my house, blah, 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 whatever. So I'm telling my best friend, he wants to fly me out. She's like, did you figure out his name yet? And I was all like, let's find out what his name is. So my bestie does a little research, and she goes on LinkedIn and she finds his government name. So I'm like, okay, cool. I know his name now. I feel more relaxed because that was going to be super embarrassing to go somewhere and I didn't even know this guy's name. And mind you, I could see little bits and pieces of his house in the background. So I knew he lived in a nice gated community. I knew he had a dog. He has no kids. Just a single working man, regular man. He's not, anything special. He was very kind on the phone, and he would always do super kind gestures. And he also asked me what I want for Christmas, but I cut him off before Christmas. So I never got to see the gift, but he was more than willing to buy what I asked for. I asked for some nail supplies from Kiara Sky that totaled probably a couple $100, $500-$600. And he was willing to buy them, so he was sweet. So I arrived, this was 2 weeks ago, so I get ready to get on the flight. He sends me my flight or whatever the case may be, and it was through Southwest Airlines. I wasn't picky. He did make sure I was set up right, so he made sure I was one of the first groups aboard. I got to do carry-on. He paid for me to have drink and food service on the plane. I'm coming from LA, so it was a quick flight, but I like the thoughtfulness that he put into it by not booking the regular airline, but still spending $800 for the plane ticket. So I was grateful for that because at the end of the day, times are rough. $800 is still a decent lot of money. Now, I know you guys are waiting for the juicy part. When did it go downhill and why did I leave 8 hours later? Let's get into it. So the morning of me leaving, I was trying to check into the flight for whatever reason, and I was sending it to him. I'm like, hey, it's not letting me check in, y'all. He was aggravated. He was like, stop calling me about that. I'm trying to do stuff right now. It's my dog's birthday today. You can't check in the flight yourself. And I was like, it's not working. So at this point, I'm just all like, maybe I shouldn't go. He's kind of aggravated. He's bothered. But he ends up checking in the flight for me. And then he sends me a screenshot oh, how was that so hard to do? So then he calls me on FaceTime. He's like, share your screen and show me if you checking in on the flight. I want to make sure that you can check in on the flight. So I proceed to share my screen. And then he ends up saying see, it does work. I don't know why it wasn't working when I tried it, but either way it goes, that's the first red flag. As a man, you're here to make my life easier. So if it was a little hard for me to check in on the flight, why couldn't you have just done that for me? He ends up doing it. I pack up my stuff. I I bring like a whole bunch of clothes because, you know, as women, we never know what we're going to wear. I bring a whole bunch of clothes, shoes, like my hair stuff. I just bring everything because I'm like ready to go. So I head over to the airport. That was another red flag for me. He didn't provide like an Uber to the airport, but I guess that's not totally a red flag because like at the end of the day, he did pay $800 for the flight. But I don't know, it would have been a little more chivalrous to send like, you know, Uber to and from the airport because Uber is like $150 from my house to the airport. So I ended up driving my own car because I was not giving them $300 in Ubers to go 40 minutes away. So therefore, yeah, I get to the airport. I let them know I'm on my way. I hop on the flight. I'm texting my friends. I'm so happy. I'm like, okay, y'all, this is my first time doing this. I create a whole close friend story about this situation. And I head over to Austin. So when I land, I go to the airport, I pick up my bag, and I'm waiting. 5 minutes goes by. I let him know that I'm there. 5 minutes goes by. I'm like, I'm here. He's like, okay, I'll be there. Boo, by the way that you're making it seem, you make it seem like you're right across the street. Wait 5 minutes, he wasn't there. Wait 10 minutes, he wasn't there. Wait 15 minutes, he wasn't there. Wait 20 minutes, he wasn't there. He comes 27 minutes later. So at this point, I'm just like a little bothered because I'm like, why didn't you just send an Uber to like take me to your house? Like, why did you have to come personally to pick me up? So he arrives 27 minutes later, and I crack a little jokey joke trying to lighten the mood. I'm like, because I think he was aggravated when I called him and asked him like where he was. And because not for nothing, y'all, I don't wait at no airport. Like, I call a Uber or my friend comes and get me, I get up out of there. Like, and especially like first time meeting each other, like first impressions count. It shows me how much you're into me, so I would expect for you to be on time. So he pulls up or whatever, he hops out the car, and I'm like, now you leaving me here 27 minutes, like just joking. Y'all, this man gets into a full attitude like, well, I had to stop and there was traffic and da-da-da-da-da and this, that, and the other. Just snatches the bags out of my hand and throws them in the trunk, like doesn't give me like a hug or anything. So I'm like, okay, he's tight. All right. So I get in the car and immediately I catch a little stench. And I'm like, ew, it stinks in here like sweat. But of course I didn't say that to him because I'm just hoping like, as long as his house doesn't smell like that, we're fine. So we're in the car. He's like acting kind of dry, and basically he is, you know, having low key like an attitude that I made the comment. So I try to break the ice. Meanwhile, I'm texting my friends the whole time. I'm gonna insert the screenshot of me texting my friend. So my best friend, she writes me, "You all right?" And I say, "Yes, landed. He's a little awkward. Laugh my ass off. I kind of want to leave." She says, "Give him a shot. That's always the answer. Go get a cocktail. You make him nervous." And then I send the little Peppa Pig meme that says like, "I want to leave." So we're riding in the car, we're driving in silence. That's when I texted my friend. And then so he wanted to go, we're driving. I was like, oh, so like where are we going to? He's like, well, we're gonna go get barbecue. Didn't you say you want a barbecue? Because I thought Texas was like the home of the barbecue. So I'm like, yeah, like I do want to get barbecue. I've been talking about it to him on the phone. So we're driving and he just like really not saying nothing. Like I'm the one making the conversation. Like it's really, really awkward. And then so we're driving and it starts being traffic, and then I'm like, oh shoot, is it always traffic around this time? And he was all like, not usually. And then we pull up, I guess there's an accident, there's like roadblocks. So he is like aggravated, and I'm like, wait, there's an accident? He was like, yeah, because you wanted to go get this barbecue, so that's why we're here and we're stuck in traffic. Excuse me? So I'm just all like, well, we can go get food somewhere else. Like, it's not that big of a deal. And he was like, well, you wanted barbecue. And I'm like, yo, we can get food somewhere else. Like, it's not that big of a deal. He was like, well, where do you want to eat? And I'm like, well, I've never been here before. I said, you would know where we should eat. And he was just like, he was all like, well, I'm asking you, where do you want to eat? Just choose something. Literally, like talking to me like I'm an enemy. And I'm like, I don't know. I was like, I don't know. You could choose it. So he ends up taking me to this restaurant called Victory in like their downtown area. I order wings and some drinks. I noticed some of the staff is like coming up and talking to him. So while I'm ordering wings and the drinks, I'm just kind of like, you know, just sitting there doing my little 1-2 eating. And he orders a little drink and he starts loosening up a little bit. And there was a couple that was sitting right next to me. He had got up to use the restroom. And the couple next to me was like, oh, is that your boyfriend? I'm like, no, I'm just out here visiting. They were out visiting from Houston. Super nice couple. So girl, if you see this, you were tea. And she was just telling me how she could tell I looked a little uncomfortable and this, that, and the other. And keep watching for part 2 because it gets even better. Okay, so let's get into part two. Okay, so I left off where we were at the Victory Lounge and we were eating. It was drinks. It was fine. I had one little drink, vodka and cran. I noticed he started to loosen up a little. So I'm like, okay, it's cool. Like, he might be catching a little vibe. Maybe he was nervous, like my friend said. So I noticed that he's like really cool with the staff. Like they kept coming up to him, like offering him stuff. And the manager came out and talked to him, like, I want to work with you on something, bro. So he's obviously business minded. So I'm like getting good little vibes. And I told my friends, like, okay, we're getting a little drinky drink. Everything is cool. I packed my food up to go. And he pays for the check, and then we walk out. So one thing that he did that I didn't like, y'all, he would always like walk so far ahead of me. Like he wouldn't like wait for me. Like he didn't try to do any type of like lovey gesture. So I was just like, maybe he just like awkward in front of females. I don't know. But that just threw me off. So we walked to this little liquor store because he said there's wine in here. I know you mentioned you had some wine. He was all like, we could grab a bottle of wine. So boom, we grab the wine or whatever and we head back to his house. So this is the first time I'm going to his house, not back to his house, but we head to his house. This is the first time I'm going to his house. So I'm like, okay, hopefully it doesn't stink in here like it stinks in the car. We pull up. It's a nice big gated community, nice big townhouse. So I'm like, okay, like bet, like it looks like it's going to be nice. He lives in a nice community, brand new build. I know it's going to be good. So we drive through the little gate, drive to his complex, townhouse unit, whatever, go in the garage, get out of the garage. So far, garage looking clean. So I'm like, okay, thank God it's not stinky. Gee willikers, was I in for a surprise. As soon as I walked in that door, that big ass dog came bum rushing me down the stairs, jumping on me, pulling on my clothes. I got my $30,000 bag in my purse. Like I'm hitting walls and everything. I'm like yelling at him like, get your dog. He's like, oh, he's just friendly. He's still a puppy. No, babe, that was poor manners. Like, why the fuck would you just sit there and let your dog just be jumping all over on me like that? So anyway, we go up the stairs, and as I'm walking up the stairs, I notice this dirt marks all over the walls. Hold on, I'm gonna insert photo. So I don't know about y'all, but my mama raised me in a clean household, and for you and just you and your dog to live here, like there should be no way that your walls are looking like this. So automatically I'm pissed off, and it smells like dried spit in there. Like I don't know how to explain it, and I'm gonna explain to y'all why it smells like dried spit in there. So I'm noticing that it's like a little stinchy stench, and so I see the dog hops up on like all the furniture that he has and eats these bones and like slobbering everywhere. Slobber on the floor, slobber on the carpet, slobber on the couch. So I'm like, that's why it smells like spit in here, because you got this damn dog on your furniture eating bones and leaving slobber behind. So at this point, I'm just over it. I messaged my YN like, hey, boo, like, I'm going to come out to Miami. I'm going to insert the ticket that he booked. He booked me a ticket or whatever, got there, took Spirit because it was the first flight out. I didn't care if it was Frontier. Get me out of there. So the flight was going to leave at 5 a.m., but I didn't tell him yet because we still had to go to the Caribbean Club. So I didn't want to kill the vibe. I was just like, okay, I'll go to Caribbean Club because I don't have nowhere else to go till 5 a.m. So I'm like, let me just do that, catch a little vibe, hopefully it'll be cool. So we inside the house or whatever. He takes my stuff and puts it in his room, and by this time I'm like bothered, but in my mind it clicked like, okay, if I'm gonna call an Uber, I'm like, I need his address. Of course I was sharing my location with my friends, but you know when you share your location, it doesn't really give you like the exact address sometimes, or at least I couldn't see it. So I'm like, I need to think quick on my toes. I'm like, I need to DoorDash myself something so that way I could ask him for the address and the gate code. So when it's time for me to sneak up out of here in the middle of the night, I can just be on my way. I don't even have to disturb him because his door downstairs had like automatic lock. So it's not like I'll be leaving his house open. It's like, okay, cool. Okay, so I inserted the three things. That's the big ass dog down below that kept hopping on me. That's the ticket that I got booked. And then that is the DoorDash that I called so I could get the address. So y'all know I'm not exaggerating. So, I mean, zoomed in all close. Hold on. Okay, so I don't know how to move it, and like at this point I'm not about to start this video over. So basically whatever, we pour up some wine. He pours wine in a glass, I pour mine in a plastic cup, because at this point, boo, I'm not drinking out your glasses. Like, this house smells like spit. You be smoking in here, you got dogs in here, the walls is dirty. I'm not drinking out no glass. So I grabbed the third plastic cup to be safe, and I'm drinking my wine, and we sit on the couch, and he turns on Netflix. So when he turns on Netflix, y'all, he turns on some like demonic ass show, and I did not want to watch that show. So I told him like, can we watch something different? Like, I don't want to watch no show that's demonic. And he was just all like, it's not demonic, like this and the other, like it's a regular show. So I'm like, all right, bet. Like, I'm not about to argue. Then he wants to start talking about God and all this other type of stuff, and it's like, I'm not here to talk about that with you. So when I like shut him down, he gets aggravated, goes downstairs, smokes a blunt, comes back upstairs and asks me, well, is your stuff here yet? Because we need to go out. And so I'm like, it'll be here in a few minutes. So boom, whatever, the stuff comes. And mind you guys, the gate is open until like 12 o'clock. So when I asked him for the gate code, he was all like, oh, the gate stays open. Like, you don't need the gate code, basically. So I'm just like, how the hell am I going to get up out of here? I don't have no gate code. I have the address, but I don't have the gate code. I guess I'm going to just have to walk my ass up out of here when it's time to leave. So at this point, I didn't even change my clothes. I just left on what I had because I'm like, I'm not about to get dressed up, put on makeup and all this if I'm leaving in the morning. So I go out in the little Lululemon fit or whatever, looking cute. And we get to the little Caribbean spot. And the Caribbean spot was a vibe. Shout out to that place because their Caribbean spot was jumping. Good DJ. So we go to the bar. He asked the bartender for some drinks. Of course, he knows all the people. He's cool there. And I should have known that was like a first red flag because why do you know all these people so well? But I guess it was going over my head because I wasn't present in the moment because I wanted to leave. So we're at the bar. He gets me drinks. I have 2 drinks, again, staying on my P's and Q's. But I notice he keeps drinking. So at this point, I'm kind of watching him because I'm like, you keep guzzling on down all these drinks. Who the fuck is going to drive us home? So we were sitting at the little section or whatever, and mind you, he didn't pay for no section, y'all. It was just like the section where you could sit down. And the girl who was helping us earlier, she had walked from the front because she seen me, you know, and she walked up and she's like, are you having a good time? Like, da-da-da-da-da. And I was just like, And then she was just all like, well, how did you meet him? Like, she was lingering to tell me something, but she didn't want to, like, you know, she was temperature checking me because she didn't want, like, you know, to like give up information. And then I go back and tell him. So then I told her like, what's T, girl? And she's all like, well, like, he's a regular here. He tries to get at girls all the time, but they always turn him down. I've tried to hook up some of my friends with him and they just all kind of say like he's lame. He has no personality. He gets aggravated quickly, irritated quickly. Like, it's just not a vibe. It never goes anywhere. So I'm just like, that's the same stuff I'm experiencing. I tell her, and I'm like, I was going to leave in the morning. I was like, do you think I should leave, or is that mean? Because I still felt bad. Like, you know, he did buy the ticket and stuff. And she's like, honestly, girl, she was like, it's not worth your time. I would leave. So now it's dead set in my mind that I'm leaving. I'm leaving to Miami in the morning at 5 a.m. at 5 a.m. to get on this flight. So, we're starting to wrap it up. He's like, let me know whenever you want to go. Like, he's feeling the mood. He has some drinks in his system. He was trying to like touch my leg and stuff, but I kept getting up to go and dance with the Latina girls over there because I was like, I'm not about to be, no, don't touch me. I'm irritated. So we get ready to leave, and then I asked him, I'm like, are you okay to drive? Do you want me to drive? Y'all, he got the biggest attitude, like, why wouldn't I be okay to drive? I'm okay to drive. I wasn't drinking. And I'm like, okay, you got it, buddy. You got it. You drive. And if we die, mama, you got my location. Friends, you got my location. Sue the hell out this nigga because why is he driving us drunk? So anyway, we get to his house. We hitting all these corners. And we go in the gate. But I noticed he got a little gate clicker, so he opened the gate or whatever. It was something in his car that made the gate open. So by now the gate is closed. So I'm plotting how the hell I'm gonna get out. I'm looking, I'm like, okay, there's a little side gate I could walk out of, but how do I get out of this main gate? Because he does not live by the gate. So we get back up into his house or whatever, and he goes up. He's a little tipsy, y'all, so keep this in mind. He is a little tipsy. He was drunk. He was a little drunk or whatever, and then he goes to get his dog, to take his dog downstairs to use the restroom. And then so I go into his room where he put my stuff in his closet, and I start bringing my stuff out into the living room, and I set it on the side of the couch. So then that way it wouldn't be obvious it was like by the door or anything like that, because he has stairs that go up and then it leads into his house. It wasn't just like, you know, like a front door type of situation. So I sat on the side of the couch. And when he was done walking his dog, I told him, I broke the news to him, and I'm like, I'm probably gonna leave in the morning. Because mind you, he had already felt the vibe, and I asked him earlier, I don't know if I told y'all, but I asked him earlier, like, how would you feel if I left in the morning? And he was just like, you know, I want you to see if you have a good time. Because he could see I was like a little uncomfortable, but he wasn't doing anything to try to like make me not uncomfortable. So I ended up telling him like, yeah, I have a flight booked. I'm going to leave at 5 a.m. in the morning. I didn't tell him I was going to Miami because I'm from LA. I was just like, I'm leaving in the morning. And you could just tell he like seemed like, just like he didn't know what to think. He seemed a little disappointed, but he also seemed like, okay, I just wasted my $800 to get this hoe out here. Mind you, I landed at 6 that day, or the day before, since it was already 12 a.m. I landed at 6 that day, and I was going to be leaving at 5 in the morning. So that was like a short trip. And so yeah, I told him I was gonna leave, and he was all like, well, do you want me to order you the Uber? And I was all like, yeah, you could order the Uber. So he pulls the Uber up app. He pulls the Uber up, and stay tuned for part 3 because I'm running out of time. I only get 10 minutes. But it's about to get real juicy because why the hell was I trapped in this man's house, y'all? Okay, y'all, grand finale, part 3. So, I asked him if he could please order me the Uber. Well, no, I didn't ask him to order me the Uber. I told him I was going to leave in the morning. He was just looking like stuck on stupid. So he was asking me like, well, what time are you leaving? And I told him 5 a.m. So remember, he is like a little drunk. So I said 5 a.m. So he keep pulling his phone out and he was like, well, I'm going to order the Uber now for you. But he's saying it with like, he knows what he's doing. Like, he's like, I'm going to order the Uber now for you. Like, babes, it's only 12. Like, where am I going to go for all these hours? I'm not leaving right now. Like, even though it's stunk in there, like, where was I going to go? Like, no hotel would have let me just check in right there. And I'm not going to be sitting in the airport for 5 hours. So, he pulls out his phone. He orders the Uber. He does it once. He's like, okay, I called it. And I'm like, no, it's not for right now. But this was a perfect time. So I was like, what is the gate code? And he's like, I don't know the gate code. I don't ever use the gate code. I just use a clicker. So I don't know the gate code. So I'm like, all right, bet. So I cancel that Uber. I'm like, just order for 3 a.m. He does it again for right now. And I'm like, it's not for right now. Like, at this point, I snatched the phone out of his hand. I'm like, here, give me the phone. I'm like, let me order the Uber. So I ordered the Uber. You know how you can, like, schedule the Uber? So I scheduled the Uber for, like, to pick me up at 3 a.m. And I was not trying to do 3:30. I wasn't trying to do none of that. Because even though the airport was only, like, 20 minutes away, I was like, I need to be ready to get up out of here. But I was still stuck on, like, how is the Uber going to get in because there is no gate code. So at this point, I'm getting a little tired. We sit on the couch. He turns on Next Friday for whatever reason. He thinks he's trying to school me on black movies because I never saw Next Friday. That's another conversation for another day. I know you guys are going to eat me up, but I never really watched Next Friday. So he was like, oh, we need to watch Next Friday. So I sit on the couch. I don't think he fully registered what was going on. So we sat on the couch. He turns on Next Friday. So it is a little cold in there. He has his air conditioning on, like, super cold. And I also don't want to just be touching his air conditioning. So I'm just like, do you have a blanket or something that I could use because it's cold in here? Like, do you have a throw? And he's like, yeah, I got one. So he goes to his room and he brings out this blanket and he just, like, tosses it to me. Like, he don't even, like, set it down. Like, he tosses it to me like I'm one of the bros. And I'm like, okay. And so I get the blanket and I sniff it first because I don't know what y'all, but I sniff everything first. Like, I sniff my food first. I'll sniff, like, blankets. I sniff everything. Like, I sniff my wash rack. I sniff everything. So I sniff the blanket and the blanket smells like spit, like dry spit. So at this point, I'm aggravated. So I take it and I toss it back to him, like, real hard. Like, I'm like, this stinks. And he's like, no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. I'm like, it does stink. I said, smell it. He sniffed it. He was like, it don't smell like anything to me. And I told him, that's because you're nose blind. I said, it smells like spit or whatever. So then I'm just like that meme on Instagram with the lady with the sunglasses with her hands crossed, like, laid back. I'm just sitting on the couch now, like, I'm laid back, I'm irritated. And this how bad his house smelled because when I left to get, like, you know, whatever, I could smell it on my clothes. So anyways, so I end up dozing off to sleep or whatever. And I'm going to insert the picture, y'all, of, like, what I posted in my close friends for my homegirls to see. So I put myself over his face because I wanted to block myself up. But he got the blanket to his nose, mind you. And if you see up here, I wrote, this was my close friends. I say, he sleep, y'all. Got me watching Friday After Next. My bad, it was Friday After Next. Man, it's time to go. Never go against what you know, ladies. Y'all can't say I didn't try. This house stinks so bad. He's nose blind to this shit. So I doze off. I go to sleep or whatever. No blanket, no cover, no nothing. And then I guess my alarm starts going off because I heard my alarm and I woke up. I'm grabbing my bags quickly and I start shaking him like, hey, like, the Uber's here. Mind you, he's asleep. I'm like, hey, the Uber's here. He's not waking up. I'm like, the Uber is here. He's not waking up. So then I get real aggressive with it. I just start shoving him. Like, the Uber's here. I need to get up out of here. You need to give whatever the gate code. So I'm asking him, like, what is the gate code? Because he took the phone. Like, I do believe that he was a little intoxicated. Don't get me wrong. But I also believe, like, he was being belligerent. Like, he felt some type of way that I wanted to leave. So he was like, I was like, the Uber is messaging him. I could see the Uber notifications coming up. The Uber is saying, I could see it on the front screen, like, I need a code to get into the gate. So basically, I end up like waking him up enough, and I put his face in the camera, and it opens up his phone. I don't even got time to be trying to go through what he talking about with his friends, because I low-key wanted to see, like, were you talking about me with your friends? But I didn't care, because he kept trying to hide his phone when he was out, like, texting. I don't know if he was texting about me or what. But I go to the Uber, and I'm telling the Uber, like, just, like, wait 10 minutes. Like, I'm going to walk up there to the gate because I don't know the gate code. And mind you, the Uber is, like, a foreigner. He doesn't really speak good English. So I'm just hoping, like, dang, like, I hope this Uber don't drive away. Because at this point, I'm ready to take my bags and just walk up to the front. It's, like, a 10-minute walk. Because, you know, those townhouses that got, like, the little, yeah. So then, like, he's still acting like he's sleeping retarded. So then finally, you know, I was debating, and then I see his phone start ringing, and I answer. I'm like, hello, and the Uber's like, I was able to get in. He was all like, somebody was coming out. He was all like, and I'm going in. This is at 3 in the morning. You cannot tell me God is not real. Because, like, I didn't know that complex good enough. I don't honestly even remember how to even walk out of there, but I was going to try my best. I was going to use the maps because I needed to get out of there. So basically, the Uber pulls up or whatever, and I shake him like I'm leaving. So I grab my bags, I walk down the stairs, I open up his garage, and I like run to the Uber and I hop in. Y'all, he didn't try to tell me bye. He didn't try to tell me thanks for coming, like nothing. He just followed me down the stairs like all quickly. And then like when I ran out, he like closed the garage door, and then that was it. And so I did end up texting him after, like, you know, like, thanks for having me, da-da-da-da. He, like, just thumbs up my message. That was it. But long story short, I just felt like it was not comfortable for me to stay there. I don't know if he's, like, what do you call those, like an incel or something? Like, I don't know if he has, like, a gripe against women or something. But he just was not welcoming. He was not comforting. And then, like, I never unfollowed him off Instagram. So I was posting while I was in Miami. So he could obviously see I was in Miami. And, then he started like fake subbing me a little bit, I feel like, on Instagram, like just saying like little stuff. But long story short, ladies, do not go against what you know. Usually I don't even fly out to see nobody. Most of the time I meet my guys here, and if I do meet them here, I know them well enough to go with them. Always make sure they get you a hotel. And that's the thing, he was not opposed to getting me a hotel, but also he made it seem like I was gonna have like the room to myself, like it was gonna be comfortable, because he's like, normally I sleep on my couch. So it's like not any beef if you just want to have like the bed to yourself. But honestly, hindsight, I probably should have let him get me the hotel, because then that way I wouldn't have had to go through that whole experience of like trying to sneak out of his house. And yeah, like, just don't bend on your qualities. Like, I mean, your, like, whatever your standard is, don't bend on your standard. Like, typically, I would make them provide me an Uber or send me some type of money for, like, my Ubers in advance or whatever. But, yeah, I ended up going to Miami. I went to go and hang out with my little YN. I call him my YN. If you guys been here before, you know why I call him YN. He's not, like, shoot, gang. He's just, like, a cool young dude. He bought my ticket to Miami. He bought my ticket back from Miami. And we just had a good time, like, you know. And that was a very traumatic experience for me, and it just changed my perspective on flying to see anyone. So yeah, that was a story. It was a pretty interesting story. Let me know if y'all want me to post some of the videos that I took while I was out on my actual TikTok feed, because it's a little bit hard to give y'all the full context. But when I tell you I vlogged this whole experience for my close friends, for the girls of my close friends, like, they were all like, nah, hell nah, get out of there. Like, it was so crazy. So that's the story. Hit me with a follow and let me know what y'all think. Okay, let's get a couple things straight about this story time. First things, listening comprehension skills are needed, because the first thing everybody's like, oh, I would have got up and left. I told you guys in the first video, I do not wait at airports. I don't care. I don't wait at airports. I'm the type that if the flight leaves at 12:50, I would be there at 12:30. Yes, ma'am. And if I have to check a bag, I'm going to take it to the wire. You know how they say you can't check a bag in after like a certain time? I'm going to make it to the last millisecond. I don't like to wait at airports, period. I don't care about lounges or none of that. I don't care. I've been in the Amex Lounge, Centurion Lounge. I done been in all that. Delta Lounge, Sky Lounge. I done been in all that. I don't like to wait at the airport. I don't care how much free food you're offering me like I'm like a homeless person. I don't want to be in there. That's just me. Everybody to each their own. I'm not judging. Secondly, I said that I felt uncomfortable. I didn't say I felt unsafe. You guys need to listen. Uncomfortable and unsafe are two different things. If I felt unsafe, of course I would have left. Why would I sit up in somewhere where I felt unsafe? Him having an attitude, that was bothering me, and him being like acting like a hoe, that was bothering me. But at the end of the day, these hands work. So what you trying to do, boo? Third of all, some women are in the comments like, this is why it's important to have your own stuff. Who doesn't have their own stuff, and what does having your own stuff play into this? At the end of the day, should I have vetted him a little better? Yes. But the thing is this, how do you know somebody's going to switch up on you like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde when you get out there? He was one person on the phone, and then he was another person in person. And the person that was in person was even a little bit of a throw off, because when I had met him on vacation, he was nice. I already told y'all the name thing, diabolical. I'm not even going to address the name thing, because I already told y'all, feel free to judge on that. That was diabolical. It is what it is. And I forgot to tell y'all, when he seen his name in my phone saved under his government name, he started tripping. He was all like, where'd you get that name from? Nobody calls me that name. I tell everybody, what's wrong with your name? Like, that's your name. But my bad, you didn't tell me the name that the homies call you. So obviously this is getting too federal for you. I don't know. Federalis. I don't know. So the biggest takeaway is, when you fly somewhere to anybody, I guess, make sure you're in a hotel, which is not always the case, because you guys are acting like if you were sitting on the phone talking to somebody for off and on for a year, that you're going to be like, give me a hotel. If the person is telling you, hey, like, I have a place set aside for you right here, I'm going to be right here, da-da-da-da-da, you would feel more than comfortable. That's just me. I don't know. I live in reality. I don't live in this after, oh, what I would have done. You don't know what you're going to do until you're in the situation. So the biggest takeaway, like I said, just vet the people better, and then just do better for next time. Honestly, when I said it was my first time getting flown out, I meant flown out by a regular ass nigga. Let's start with that. Because I ain't had these problems with the nigga that's got money. Like, for real. Like, for real, for real. And I asked him the question that Shira 7 said to vet if they have money or not. I asked him too late. So it is what it is. And it wasn't really even about the money at the end of the day. It was really about just trying to give somebody a chance that was outside of my normal space, because I see like the most happiest people with just like people that are just okay with getting through life. Okay. So I just thought like, okay, let me get down off my high horse and see what it's like. But I see when you get off your high horse, you land in shit. So nah, stay on that horse and do what works best for you. If you like it, I love it, but it was not for me. So that it is what it is.
Hi, my name's Casey, and my ex-husband went to rehab instead of jail after he physically assaulted me in our home in front of our children. While in rehab, he met up with a nurse and they started dating. Yeah. Then that lovely lady continued to harass me for years, until I lost it a little bit and I finally called her out online. And when I called her out online, she thought it was so smart to comment with her full government name, trying to bully me on my video I made about her. Anyways, after that blew up, because there's so many wonderful people on here, it was calling her on her crap, she decided to try to get a protection order on me. I wasn't able to talk about it until Monday, when I got notice that she dropped it. Girl, anyways, I have so much to tell. I have the whole story, actually. I have all my notes, and I'm kind of excited to share with the class. You know how long it's been since I've had to put together a full-blown presentation? Ugh, it's been a minute. But I'm excited because actually, unrelated, I'm going back to school as a single mom. Wish me luck. It's gonna be a lot. So, I don't know. Cool. If I get engagement on this, that's awesome. I just freaking have to share this because what the fuck? It's stupid. It's so stupid. Ugh. Do you want to hear this story of how jealous she is of me? How much I consume her day? Funny part about it is the only time she's consuming any time of mine is when I have to respond to her. When you file for a protection order, a temporary one is granted, right? So in the meantime, until you can actually go in front of a judge and they either grant it and extend it and whatever, or they drop it, right? So we were in that period for a while. I couldn't talk about it. And Now I can. But when you actually go and get one, you have to present evidence of why she felt it was necessary to get a protection order against me. I'm sorry. Whew. You have to present evidence as to why you feel it necessary to get a protection order. I will get through this without laughing. The ridiculousness of this person. Anyways, so now I have it all. And I have my responses, which, since I didn't get to read out in court, I feel like I should share with you guys. I put in all the effort after all. She made me stop what I was doing as a single mom, as if it wasn't hard enough, right? As if what I was going through wasn't hard enough as a single mother, because she actually supports my ex-husband abandoning his children because they are mine. What kind of jealousy is that? I would say that's pretty jealous, girl. And I don't blame you. I would be jealous too, especially because he's still calling in the middle of the night.
Just wanted to talk to you.
That's not a flex, by the way. I just wish he would call his kids, especially to wish him happy birthday, Merry Christmas, anything. Jealousy looks awful on you. Also, your whole life choices look awful on you because you jeopardize your career, because you damn straight I'm going to go back to the nursing board. Yeah, of course I am, with all of the crap in here. On top of, you blew up a great marriage. I'm sorry, your ex-husband, he's a great guy. In more ways than one. And it's not like I'm proud of that, really. We were both hurt. We were both hurt by our spouse's actions, and we took comfort in each other. He's a great guy. He's a great friend. And honestly was the only reason that I didn't publicly shame you sooner was because of him, because I have respect for him. Your children also don't need to be involved in any of this, although it looks like you involved them by trying to tell them scary stories about me which weren't true. How psychotic do you have to be? I cannot even get into it. Actually, I can. And if anybody wants to follow along, I would welcome it. Because I'm a single mom, and I'm just trying to do my best, even though I have to deal with people like this who just randomly, I have nothing to do with you. I want nothing to do with you. But if you're going to waste my time, I'm going to make it worth it. So, if anybody wants to follow along on that just awesome story, there's going to be several parts. Toodles. So this is part 1. And you might notice I'm wording things a little different. Allegedly, to the best of my knowledge. I'm also going to be redacting a lot because I don't want to go back to court. She filed this like a few days after she initially commented. Like it was literally, her comment was on the 18th of September, and then she filed this on the 23rd of September. So just a few days, which is hilarious given some of her comments, but we'll get there. And then she hired an attorney, and then it got extended, and then it got extended again because I have ADHD and I procrastinated, and honestly, she was not like my number one priority. I had bigger, better things to do, so I kind of procrastinated, got my evidence in late, and then it was extended again. We were supposed to have court on February 3rd. And I got news it was dropped on February 2nd. So it's not like she did me any favors or anything else. Like, I was prepared for court. And I don't know if it was like light bulb. I don't know what happened. I'm just assuming here. But the point is she dropped it so I can talk. Guys, this is a long story and there's a lot involved. And to be honest with you, some of my memory is not great because I was one of the most traumatic things I've ever went through, and I was going through other stuff that was traumatic, so my memory's a little spotty. But I have receipts for days, thank goodness. I'm gonna follow this order and then kind of go chronologically in the order, and then I will explain stuff. If anybody has any questions, shoot them. I'm also gonna say, it's not like I was a great person in this, right? I said some stuff in the very beginning, especially to my ex-husband, which was not okay. A lot of it had to do with trauma and dealing with this and figuring this out, and he really screwed me over. Never really did a number on me, but I'm doing better. So the first few pages just kind of go over basic information, first name, where I live, blah, blah, blah. All the information she had about me. She put me at 5'6", though. I mean, it just goes to say that she never saw me in person. I'm taller than that girl. The reason why our kids are so tall. I'm 5'10". Thank you, though. And then on the next page, it says, respondent is ordered to have no contact with petitioner, which funny because I never really did. And then underneath she wrote in pen, no posting any comments on social media regarding petitioner. Why this is funny, because when she first came in and she first hopped on and she was first doing all this, it was, Casey, you're crazy. Casey. Like, let's see the comments, huh? These are her comments that she posted, right? You know when you used to play tag when you were little, and there would always be that one kid who made up rules, like, no, this is base. No, this is like that. Like, just redid the rules when you guys were in the middle of the game because they didn't like losing. It's giving that. That's the vibe it's giving. Like, just own it. The funny thing is, she's been watching me. She was watching me. That's why she commented on my stuff. And also, if you didn't realize, the first picture, you see her holding her phone, right? She was outside my house recording after I told her repeatedly she wasn't welcome. So how are you gonna get a stalking and harassment thing on me when you were coming to my home without my permission and just getting into it for why? All right. On to the next page. Oh, this time she put me down at height as 5'4". I just keep on shrinking. She does get my maiden name right, which is great. Great. It's funny because I know my ex-husband is dying for me to change it back. Actually, I think that was like the first thing in the divorce decree that he wanted. You don't deserve the name of being Smith. I'm not a Smith because of you. All right? I'm a Smith and I'm not changing it because our children's last name is Smith. That's why I'm not changing it. And which a hypocritical thing to say, considering that your mom and your dad were married for just like a little bit longer than we were, and she kept her last name until not even a few months ago? Blah, 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 blah. In the divorce, Casey kept all the firearms. My ex-husband's not legally allowed to possess firearms because of the domestic violence charges he has. He was not legally allowed to keep those firearms, but I love how you make it sound like I kept them out of spite. There is a gun room in her home. Actually, I changed it into a craft room. She selected that she is in immediate danger. Don't know how. Maybe danger of being called out, for sure. Accountability is like the most dangerous thing to narcissists. Crazy. And then she said, I am worried she will come for my children next. Girl, how? I don't even know your kids' names. Like, I don't care. That's a lie. I did know a child that you had with Drew's name, just because we talked. Up until, like, you told me, I had no idea what your other kids' names were, and I had no interest. Really. None. At all. If you're a nurse, please chime in. Is this legal? Was she allowed to do this? Because this, to me, makes her look really guilty. She said that I was not allowed to, I was supposed to stay away from her place of employment. Fair for a protection order. Fair. But my next thing is the Board of Nursing. Can you file a protection order and state that I can't comment to a public authority like that? Just to be safe, I stopped. And that's why I do have that complaint. I am going to be revising my complaint and including this because I think it's very interesting that she included that in there that way. As if to stop me from telling the truth. Again, accountability is very dangerous to narcissists. Other assistance needed. And I'm just going to read it, okay? I request that she is not allowed to post about me on social media. Okay. I also request that she is no longer to contact the Board of Nursing regarding my relationship with Ethan Smith. The VA knew the circumstances and had an obligation to report if they felt that it was necessary, but they did not. Girl, you want that in writing? How's the VA going to feel about that? Because I feel like that's putting liability on them that they're not going to want. Personally, I wouldn't want that liability, considering you started that relationship and you have admitted that that relationship really started, that friendship formed while he was under your care.
I just want you to pay attention to the dates and the fact that he pled guilty and it was put into record on April 9th, 2024 to domestic battery against me. She sent me this message on Facebook, May 6, 2024, and at the end, also, you and I both know Ethan is not abusive, so what are you trying to do? Because then you commented on my TikTok saying that you were also abused, so was I or was I not abused? This one was sent in 2025, and I don't know what this blah, blah, blah BS is, but the part I want to pay attention to is the very bottom when she says, I will tell you when he was at the VA, I asked him once if you could say one thing to Casey, what would it be? And he says that I'm sorry. What would he be sorry for if he wasn't abusive? That's weird. Also, it's funny that you say that this conversation happened while he was at the VA, meaning you were having conversations with him about me while he was under your care. And you don't think that's a conflict of interest? You don't think that that was crossing the line in any way? Because then you go on to say that I wasn't abused by him. That's weird. Really weird.
Not saying he's blameless in the situation, obviously. I'm just saying, how the hell was he supposed to get sober when he went to a care facility and the entire time you were whispering in his ear along the lines it wasn't his fault? Dang. That doesn't really look good for you, does it? Then she signed, then she did that, and then it got sent, and then it got delivered to me. Okay, so that was like the actual thing that you have to fill out to get a whatever protection order. And then the next stuff is all her personal letter, which we will go through, and all of her evidence. And I'm going to go through it, like I said, chronologically, and then present my evidence back. But there's part one.
Oof. Yeah, no, you're not slow. That is a different woman I didn't find out about until my ex-husband was arrested for the first time. Totally different woman. Because he was arrested for the first time and then he violated the protection order, and that's when he bid to rehab because he choked me. Anyways, bad story. But no, that was somebody who he worked with and had an affair with basically our entire marriage. He's a great guy. Just awesome. But sorry, I know it's confusing. Totally different woman.
Here is the thing. I'm going to be fully transparent. There is something that does kind of add a little twist to the story. And that is that they did know each other prior to him being in rehab. Just all around a train wreck. She herself was newlywed. Let's read this. Presiding judge, I am writing you in an act of desperation. This is my second attempt to pursue a protection and stalking order against Casey Smith, whom has been harassing me and stalking me for over a year and a half. The pattern of behavior is getting worse, and now it is jeopardizing my job and my children. Me reporting your inappropriate relationship with my then husband? You consider that harassment? I think you yourself put your job in jeopardy because you didn't act professional. Honestly, not surprised that you and my ex wound up together. Accountability for your own actions, it's a very difficult concept. But I tried to explain it to you nicely. I want to get a couple quotes in here though. In October 2023, I ran into an old friend, Ethan Smith, while I was working at the VA. He is my best friend's brother. Okay. And I've known him all my life. He was newly going through a divorce. At the time, he was removed from his home and children and was getting treatment at the VA. He was removed from his home and children. Oh my gosh, he was displaced. Kicked out on the street. No, he got trespassed from the property
Because, again, he beat my... At this point, I have to think it's funny. Because, what the fuck? The ridiculousness. He was removed from his home and was getting treatment at the VA. During his treatment, I simply helped. She was simply helping with mental health and how he was going to manage his sobriety once discharged. That included talking about me? Okay. I notified my boss that I knew him and was transferred to the business office until he was discharged. He was discharged in January 2024. It is important to note that Ethan and I did not pursue a romantic relationship until he was no longer at the VA. Okay. We began to speak via texting in February. Oh my gosh, so at the end of, you guys waited a whole day? That's amazing. My question is, did you read this out to somebody? Did you phone a friend? Maybe a sister? You should have read this to somebody, because you sound ridiculous. Anyways, point is, and chose to pursue a relationship in March. And there's no policy stating that we can't date veterans once they're discharged, right? Just wait a whole day. Like there wasn't stuff forming on the entire time he was in there. Your mental health. Is it really good to get into relationships with people who are trying to work on their sobriety? Listen, I don't work in mental health, but I think even I know that that's not probably the most ethical thing to do. Again, Ethan and I grew up together. Our families have always been close and still are to this day. Never heard of you. Not once. I think I do remember.
I might be wrong, but I think this was the barbecue we were supposed to go to see all the cousins because your best friend was in town for your wedding. We didn't make it. I'm assuming because I made this video on the 10th, we probably got into a fight that day.
I think I do remember that because, that was just so recent before, you began to pursue a relationship with a married man who was in rehab for beating his wife. That's what I knew about you. That's all I knew. Dang. Anyways, again, thank you so much for the support. I can't believe it. Enjoy the receipts. Toodles.
I always hear people saying, oh, this was my 13th reason, that was my 13th reason. Okay, stop showing off. Some of us only need one.
We're going to take a little bit of a break because we're only 3 paragraphs in, and it's pretty lengthy. One of the things that she was really wanting to stress is that she wasn't fired from the VA for having a romantic relationship with my ex-husband. And you know what? She's right. You know how I said that to get a protection order, you have to submit evidence? She submitted a letter. In here it says that their records indicate that she actually failed bring something back on a medical cart and it was unaccounted for. As well as it looks like unable to follow proper leave requesting procedures while on shift. Subsequently, that led to your termination on May of 2024. They sent They sent this letter, though, on September 16th of 2025. She included that in there. And then just a little arrow. And she said, did an investigation on her at work was because I reached out to the VA. Doesn't really look great for you either. And when we're going to quote something, we're going to quote this too. To conclude, I respect the legal and justice system. I've never asked for anything. Or have I ever been in legal trouble? Casey Smith does have a history, and her false reports to our police departments, employers, and now licensing boards need to stop. Don't worry, you guys. I'm going to tell you all about the police reports I had to file. Don't worry, we'll get there, but we're just going to focus on this one main thing. This behavior disrespects the time and resources that each of these systems are designed for. You didn't think that this was a big waste of time? Okay. I feel that she is disrespecting that simply because she is losing control of her life and wants to hurt others. Her goal was to get my license revoked. As someone who has never been written up or disciplined, this made me have my very first panic attack. You've never been written up or disciplined before? That's weird. Because, what's that? Oh, it looks like another time that she had her license looked at. Weird. Now I'm going to take you back to the original complaint. The first thing she filled out where she said I was 5'6". At the bottom it says, I, the petitioner, state that I have read the above foregoing information and I believe this matter is set forth in true and correct under the penalty of perjury? Huh. In this letter you said you've never had any write-ups or disciplinary, but you have. That's a big thing to lie about, don't you think? That's public record. For a reason. That's public record for a reason. Because when there's habits of people, getting in trouble, not doing what they need to do, personally, I would want to know if a nurse got in trouble because you're really dealing with sensitive information and people. Also, I love how you put that your field of specialty is OB. Oh. I mean, how did you end up working at the VA? That's kind of weird. Then how did you get working in mental health? Interesting. Wonder why that would be. Gosh, there was only somebody I could ask about that. Oh, wait. Of course I asked him. Of course I got the answer. And unfortunately, it's just hearsay with no proof. But, I mean...
Well, that's interesting. You know why?
Why?
Because...
Okay, sorry I look a mess right now. I literally just woke up, and I've tried to film this video like 20,000 times. But many people have seen my last video, and I don't know if anyone will see this one. But it was just me crying over my ex, and I kind of wanted to make a video, one explaining what he, some of the small things that he did. I'm not going to mention, everything, obviously. Don't air it out, but I'm going to mention some things he did that wasn't okay, and maybe somebody can see this and realize either the relationship they're in or the breakup that it's not okay. And in a part 2, I'm going to make things that I did to, become better. So he had an issue with my past relationships, exes, talking stages, body count, kiss count, all of that. Which I completely understand because he was innocent and I was not. But the problem is that I told him this in the beginning. When we started dating, he knew the count, the basic stuff, the count of everything. Did he know the detail? No. But he didn't ask, and I didn't know to tell him because my last relationship before that, I didn't need to do that. So for months, he was okay with it. And, oh wait, let me start by saying I regret my past. My past, I have been thinking about it for so long, especially after him. It's made me think even more, and I regret it so much, but my therapist told me not to think about it anymore, or yeah. So, the first thing he had a problem with, he found out that I got with a guy that I didn't tell him about. But he knew of the guy because the guy was in my class, but we weren't friends anymore, but I still talked about him because he was in my class, but I should have mentioned that I did do that. I didn't, and I should have, and it was wrong. But I honestly didn't think about it. And that was, like, the careless thing I didn't think about telling him. But I just, like, I can't, like, go back on that. I didn't. But, he got so mad to a point where he threatened to break up with me. And I was he's my first love, and I was very in love with him. And so it literally, like, broke my heart when he would say that. So he threatened to break up with me. But I wanted to and then he, like, asked more detail about my past. And I would tell him, and he would get mad. And he was like, how could you be like that? Like, okay, I'll get into everything he said. So the first thing, he got mad because my types in the past were different. Like, I liked white and black and light skin, and I think that's kind of it. But he saw that because he made me look up their Instagrams, and he would compare himself, and he was like, they don't look like me. They don't look like me. And I'm like, I don't know what to say to that. Like, I have a type. I have types. Like, and, you know, that's not my type anymore. Like, I'm more towards white guys, but, like, then I wasn't, like, but he basically just got, like, mad at that and was like, wait, let me think what he said. He was kind of, like, mad that I had different types, basically. I don't know. He would call me a hoe, disgusting, gross, asshole, evil, terrible, all those names just because of my past. He started to look through my phone and gave me no privacy and would look purposely to find, like, a DM from, like, 2022, so my freshman year. I'm in freshman in college now. And he would just find, like, DMs, or not DMs, one DM from 2022 of me, like, flirting with a guy. And he was like, how could you not tell me? How could you do that? Oh my god. And I was like, I didn't remember. Like, okay. He said that he would have never loved me if he found out about my past earlier, like, the detail, so that hurt. He said, he couldn't imagine that he'd be dating somebody like me. That one stung a lot. He said that no boy would ever be okay with, like, my past. And that stung a lot. Like, okay, this makes me want to cry. Like, every single one of those words stuck with me throughout the rest of the relationship. And he still stands by them, I'm pretty sure. So those comments definitely hurt a lot. So if anyone says any of that to you, it's not okay. There's little things, like, he would just be like, he would get mad that I posted a picture that he took of me. It was, like, face up. He was in the story before, and I posted a picture, like, here up in his sweatshirt. My face was just my face, and I was smiling. And I posted on Instagram, he said I was looking for attention. Another thing, he made me delete all my TikTok reposts from, like, a while ago about anybody else, just in general, so I had to delete every single one of them. He didn't like that I had my old TikToks up, like, me lip singing, but they were from, like, the time period where I was, like, a whore, as he says, like, a hoe, whatever. And he was like, why would you have that up? Like, if you basically, like, have it up because you want to keep thinking about it. No, like, I just saw I look pretty in it, and I don't, like, usually go back too much on my TikToks, so I had to delete them. He said that I like male validation so much because my father never gave me any. Keep in mind, my father is very present in my life, and he's a great dad. But it was just little things. There's more to it. I will not go into any more, but that's, like, the basic stuff that isn't okay. Like, and it's stuff that really has affected me. There's more that's affected me. But I could always make a part 2. I don't know if I would for that, but, yeah. But he broke up with me the first time, and I begged for him back. And I was also going through, my grandmom's death, which I have her writing on me, but we were really close. So I was also going through that, and also the breakup. So I was definitely not in a good place, but I begged for him back because I didn't want to let go. And look where begging got me back here. But then I broke up with him the second time because he would make me cry every night. I'd be so sad. Like, he'd still bring up my past. He wouldn't let it go. He would always make side comments, like rude side comments, and I would just kind of let it slide and, like, ignore it, hoping he would stop, and he wouldn't. Oh, this is, like, off track, but once he found, like, we were at the beach together on my, like, a vacation, and there's a trash can, and the last name was Murphy. That's my ex's last name. And he saw that, apparently. He was like, and then he was mad at me the rest of the day. Oh, he also texted my ex. And I'm not gonna sit here and say I haven't done anything wrong. The Murphy guy, whatever, I cheated on him. I did. It was a 2-week relationship. Well, 2 months talking, 2-week relationship. I cheated on him. And Okay, I say that so like calmly. That's not okay. I apologize so much and I let it go. I'm trying to let it go. I still am not proud of it, but I try to let it go. But what really makes me mad, not only did he text my ex that asking whatever, my ex made up a rumor after I dumped him, broke up with him, that I cheat on him. When I did not. I simply did not. We were broken up. I kissed a guy a week later. Was that good? No. Was I hurt? Yes. But I learned obviously that's not the solution. Don't do that. But I did. And he said that I cheated on him because he just, yeah, I don't know. There is a lot of things that I've done wrong. Like the cheating on my other ex. The guy that I kissed was my guy friend. Like, okay, I'm just gonna expose myself because, so right before me and my ex broke up, I obviously was sad. But I did meet my guy friend. And we started getting closer, but when I was with, let me make this clear, when I was with my boyfriend, I did not see my guy friend as anything more than a friend. And I honestly, now I still don't. Like, I don't, and I didn't. And I think I just was in just not a good headspace, and he was there. And that's just how it works. It just is how it went. And I'm not proud of it, but it's not cheating because I didn't cheat in the relationship and I didn't think of my guy friend as that in the relationship. But many people might disagree, and that is okay. That's okay, because I completely understand how you would think that. Anyway, I can make a part 2 on, there's more stuff he's done. There's more hurtful things he said. But that is like the main stuff. And if you're going through that, it's not okay. And even if you do bad stuff in, like, after the breakup, it's not all your fault. He made me feel like it was, like, everything was my fault. And that ruined my mental health so much more. Just know it's not your fault. I will make a part 2 explaining how I'm trying to be better.